Hello everybody. Well, recently I found this shiny, good condition Charles Dickens £2 coin in my change, and you can see some of the writing on there, stands out a mile some of it. You can see little Dorrit there, you can see Oliver Twist, that's quite clear. What's that in the middle there? Christmas Carol. This is the bicentenary of the birth of Charles Dickens, born in 1812, and obviously the coin is from 2012. Now, as I said, some of it's very readable, but what's all this up the top here? What's all that? Can that be deciphered? All that down there? All this at the side here? Can we work out what it says? Let's have a closer look. Okay, here's a nice clear image we can look at. It was designed by Welsh graphic designer Matthew Dent. Now, Matthew also designed the shield designs on the British coins, but he wasn't very old at the time, so we'll forgive him for that one. Now, a lot of people don't like this design, but I think it's very clever. I like the way it uses his novels and stories to make out a silhouette of Dickens's profile. Okay, let's start right at the top of the coin and see what the first story we can find there. Now, it says, "The fine old English gentleman." You can't quite read the word old, but I looked it up and that's what it says. Now, that is actually a poem that Dickens wrote in 1841.
"I'll sing you a new ballad, and I'll warrant it first rate, of the days of that old gentleman who had that old estate."
Now, it goes on a bit, but if you want to hear that geezer read it all out, the link is below. Now then, what else we got? Let's have a look. What about Sketches by Boz? Boz was the nickname or the pen name that Dickens gave himself. As it says there, Sketches by Boz is a collection of short pieces Charles Dickens originally published in various newspapers and other periodicals between 1833 and 1836. They were reissued in book form under their current title in February and August 1836, with illustrations by George Cruikshank. And that's the inside cover of the first edition. Worth a few quid, that one? Right, I think we'll stay with this area of the coin, and on the right there, yeah, we'll pick that one there. You can read the word Ghost's Bargain, but it actually says The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain. You can't see the word the, and you can just see the H-A-U of haunted, and underneath, and the Ghost's Bargain. The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain is a novella, I think a novella just means a short novel, by Charles Dickens, first published in 1848. It's the fifth and last of Dickens's Christmas novellas. The story is more about the spirit of Christmas than about the holiday itself, harking back to the first in the series, A Christmas Carol. Now, we all know A Christmas Carol. The tale centres on Professor Redlaw and those close to him. Now I know that A Christmas Carol was one of 5. I might have a go at reading the other 4. Right, let's go back to the coin. What should we pick next? There we go, right in the middle, Tale of Two Cities. Now, A Tale of Two Cities is an 1859 historical novel by Charles Dickens, set in London and Paris before and during the Revolution, the French Revolution. And there's the inner cover of the book. It's meant to be a very difficult read, Tale of Two Cities, very hard to follow. Has anybody attempted to read it? Let me know in the comments. Right, we'll stay on that bit. We'll go just up here to Bleak House. Now, Bleak House was first published as a 20-episode serial between March 1852 and September 53. The novel has many characters and several subplots and is told partly by the novel's heroine, Esther Somerton. And there's the first page of the original from March 1852. And my voice is definitely on the way out, as you can tell. Now, I'm pretty sure I read Bleak House years ago. I'm sure there's a character called Inspector Bucket. Oh, I might be wrong. Back to the coin again. Right, I can see the one I want to pick. Let's spin it round. And there we go. Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist has got to be Charles Dickens' most famous novel. The Adventures of Oliver Twist. There we go. The story centres on orphan Oliver Twist, born in a workhouse and sold into apprenticeship with an undertaker. Oliver Twist contains an unromantic portrayal of criminals and their sordid lives and exposes the cruel treatment of the many orphans in London in the mid-19th century. Now, I think for the film, they cheered it up a little bit. Mark Lester as Oliver looks far too happy there. Now, here's the inside cover of the first edition of the book, and it says Oliver Twist or the Parish Boy's Progress. And by Boz, he was still calling himself Boz then and not Charles Dickens. And the plates were designed and etched by George Cruikshank. Now, George was a friend of Dickens, so we can assume the characters he drew were how Dickens imagined them. And there's Oliver there in the middle. He looks a bit like Kenneth Williams, or young Kenneth Williams. That must be Mr. Bumble standing there, and he's asking for more. And looks like Una Stubbs in the background there. And there's all the hungry kids. Like most of Dickens's work, Oliver Twist was serialised. It appeared monthly in a literary magazine called Bentley's Miscellany. It was divided up into monthly instalments and ran from 1837 to 1839. Okay, where should we look now? Here we go then. The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. The story centres on the life and adventures of Nicholas Nickleby, a young man who must support his mother and sister after his father dies. This was another serialisation, as most of Dickens' work was. This appeared in magazines from April 1838 till October 1939. Now, in this novel, we get to meet one of Dickens' most infamous characters, Wackford Squeers. Wackford Squeers was described as a cruel, one-eyed Yorkshire schoolmaster. He runs Do the Boys' Hall, a boarding school for unwanted children. He mistreats the boys horribly, starving them and beating them regularly. And apparently his wife was even worse. And Nicholas was unfortunate enough to attend the school where he was the headmaster. Okay, right, I'm not doing these in any particular order, just whatever I notice. Which one should we do next? Let's spin the coin round. Wrong way, but I'll go all the way around. And let's go up there to Our Mutual Friend. This is Charles Dickens' 14th novel, and it was his last completed work. The story centres on the effects of greed and the corruption that money brings. And we get to meet John Harmon, who is the main character in the book, and people like Mr. Ryer, who is the manager of a money-lending business. It's too nice to be in the money-lending business, Mr. Ryer. If you read the book, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, as I said before, this is the last novel that Charles Dickens completed. It's sad that, because his books just got better and better as he got older, but he died when he was 58 years old. So he could have lived another 30 years. Just think of all the good books that we haven't got. Okay then, right, where should we go? Let's go to David Copperfield. There we are, David Copperfield. His full title is The Personal History, Adventures, Experience and Observation of David Copperfield the Younger of Blunderstone Rookery. Yeah, a bit of a long title there. Now I've got a picture of David Copperfield. There he is. Oh no, not that one. Sorry, where is it? Ah, there we go. That's the one. Yeah, it was so obvious I was going to do a David Copperfield joke there. This book just follows the story of David from infancy to adulthood and the people that he meets along the way. Now, one of those people is Mr. Micawber, Wilkins Micawber, a very important character in the book. Wilkins Micawber. Look at the different people that have played him over the years. W.C. Fields there on the right there. In 1969, Ralph Richardson, Arthur Lowe, Joseph Marcel, Bob Hoskins, Michael Richards, David Jason and Peter Capaldi have all played the character in films over the years. Now, Micawber is known for asserting his faith that something will turn up. His name has become synonymous with someone who lives in hopeful expectation. Now, where have we seen that saying before? Something would turn up. Something will turn up. Yeah, you all know, don't you? Well, let's have a look then. Where have we seen it before? Yeah, here we are. And it's obviously the edge inscription of the coin. Something will turn up. Thank you, Mr. Micawber, for that.
Yes, Mr. Micawber?
I am confidently expecting something to turn up.
Okay, leaving David Copperfield. What are we going to do next? Oh, I know, Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. Everybody's favourite. Everybody likes that, surely. You've got the Ghost of Christmas Past there. You've got the Ghost of Christmas Present. And you've got the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. And he's yet to come. Where is he? Come on, mate. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Yeah, there he is. My favourite version, my favourite film version, is the one with Alistair Sim as Scrooge. There he is. I think that's a cracking film. I also like the George C. Scott version. When George C. Scott played Scrooge, that was a good one. And I'm not too keen on the Albert Finney version. And that's controversial. A lot of people like that one, but I'm not too keen on that. But anyway, the book's better than all the films put together, so read the book. Okay, let's go back to the coin again, spin it round. Now let's have a look. Let's go over to the right there and have a look at the posthumous papers of the Pickwick Club. That's what it says. You can't quite read the and the end of posthumous, but otherwise known as the Pickwick Papers. And that looks like Mr. Pickwick in the middle there. Don't know what's going on there. It's getting a bit violent looking. The Pickwick Papers is a sequence of loosely related adventures written for serialisation in a periodical. The novel's protagonist, Samuel Pickwick, Esquire, is a kind and wealthy old gentleman, the founder and perpetual president of the Pickwick Club. Now, I've never read this. I've never seen a film of it or read it at all. So, yeah, because it's Dickens' very first novel, I think I need to get that read sometime. Okay, where should we go now then? Let's go up there. Let's have a look at this one, Barnaby Rudge. The full title, Barnaby Rudge, A Tale of the Riots of '80, is an historical novel published in a weekly periodical called Master Humphrey's Clock. That was a magazine purely edited and written by Charles Dickens. It is largely set during the Gordon riots of 1780. You'll have to Google that one. Barnaby is described as a simple man who lives with his loving mother Mary and his companion Grip, the loquacious raven. Loquacious means talkative, but you knew that anyway. Barnaby and Grip wander in and out of the novel as it goes along. I've never read the book or seen a film on this one. Right, let's go down just a little bit, and then we come to the memoirs of Joseph Grimaldi. Now, Joseph Grimaldi was a clown. He was a clown in the 19th century, and he decided to write out his memoirs. He was going to get these memoirs published, but they were excessively voluminous, so they needed editing down. So he signed a contract with a writer, Mr. Thomas Egerton Wilkes, to rewrite, revise and correct the manuscript. Anyway, 2 months later, after signing the contract, Grimaldi died and Wilkes finished the job on his own, but he cut it down, he condensed it and changed it around and added stuff based on his own conversations with Grimaldi. Anyway, in September 1837, Wilkes offered the memoirs to Richard Bentley, publisher of the magazine Bentley's Miscellany, which we've come across earlier. Bentley brought it, and he still thought it was too long and badly edited, so he asked one of his favourite young writers to re-edit it for him, and guess who that was? Yep, Charles Dickens. He was only 25 years old at the time, and at first Dickens didn't want to do the job. But after being offered £300, he decided to do it. I suppose £300 in 1837 was a lot of money. Anyway, he rewrote it again, re-edited it again, and published it under his name, Boz, which of course is Dickens's nom de plume, his pen name. Anyway, it seems that Dickens never even saw Grimaldi's original manuscript, and that was sold in 1874 in an estate sale and has never been seen since. So modern Dickens fans can't match it up and see how accurate it was. Not a very famous Dickens publication, this one, but it's on the coin, so I had to include it. Who's this? Barnaby Rudge? You're in the wrong novel, mate. We've just done yours. Oh, well, let's move on. Here we go then. Let's spin it round. And in big letters, we have Little Dorrit. Amy Dorrit was born in prison and is known as Little Dorrit. She grows up as a girl who cares for others. She has a tender heart and is practical as to getting enough money to eat and live with her father in prison. She's the emotional and practical centre of her family. She's 22 years old when the novel opens. I've never read the book, but there's lots of television and film productions of Little Dorrit. Claire Foy played Little Dorrit in this 2008 TV series, and I think on her left that's Tom Courtenay. Here we go then. The Old Curiosity Shop. The Old Curiosity Shop is one of two novels, the other being Barnaby Rudge, which Charles Dickens published along with short stories in his weekly serial Master Humphrey's Clock. Now, we mentioned that before, haven't we? From 1840 to 1841. It was so popular that New York readers stormed the wharf when the ship bearing the final instalment arrived in 1841. The Old Curiosity Shop was printed in book form in 1841. That's amazing considering that Dickens was only 29 years old at the time. The Old Curiosity Shop tells the story of 13-year-old orphan Nell Trent. She lives with her maternal grandfather in his shop of odds and ends. Her grandfather loves her dearly and Nell does not complain, but she lives a lonely existence with almost no friends her own age. Her only friend is Kit, an honest boy employed at the shop whom she is teaching to write. Secretly obsessed with ensuring that Nell does not die in poverty as her parents did, her grandfather attempts to provide Nell with a good inheritance through gambling at cards. He keeps his nocturnal games a secret but borrows heavily from the evil Daniel Quilp. And there's Daniel Quilp. He's definitely not the sort of bloke you should be owing money to, that's a fact. I think this is another good story by Dickens, one of his best, and they've made some good films out of this as well. Okay, we'll spin it round again, go down here and have a look at this one. A Child's History of England. And that's exactly what it was, a history book. And it was still being used in school curriculums right up until the 20th century. In fact, well into the 20th century. Well, let's go back again and look for another one. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button for me and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go right in the middle of the coin there and Great Expectations. The novel is set in Kent and London in the early to mid 19th century and contains some of Dickens's most celebrated scenes, starting in a graveyard where the young Pip is accosted by the escaped convict Abel Magwitch. Great Expectations is full of extreme imagery, poverty, prison ships and chains, and fights to the death. And of course, Miss Havisham. This is one of Dickens's later novels, published in July 1861. Just over 8 million of these were released into circulation, so they're not hard to come by. So get your magnifying glass out and see if you can spot all these literary works by Mr. Dickens. But don't go anywhere, there's more to come. Right then, next one. If we have a look at Charles Dickens's chin and zoom in a bit, we get to Dombey and Son. Dombey and Son follows the fortunes of a shipping firm owner who is frustrated at the lack of a son to follow him in his footsteps. He initially rejects his daughter's love before eventually becoming reconciled with her before his death. The story features many Dickensian themes such as arranged marriages, child cruelty, betrayal, deceit and relations between people from different British social classes. The novel was first published in monthly parts between 1846 and 1848. A lot of people consider this their favourite Dickens novel. I'm not too familiar with it, but another one I'm going to have to read. Okay, this next one I really struggled with. Now let me zoom in and you can just see the word the up the top there. The, and it says the life, and below that of our Lord as written, the word written sticking out there, for his children. And that's exactly what it was. Charles Dickens rewrote the life of Jesus for his kids and it got published. Simple as that. Yeah, I struggled. I nearly didn't work that one out. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. The Seven Poor Travellers. This is another one of Dickens's Christmas stories. The Seven Poor Travellers takes place on Christmas Eve in Rochester at the Charity Hospice, founded in 1579 by Richard Watts. This was an actual hospital that Dickens knew well from his childhood days. All Charles Dickens's work is now out of copyright, so you can read it anywhere. I like to go to the Gutenberg Book Project, which is this one. And it says this ebook is for the use of anyone, anywhere, at no cost, with almost no restriction whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away, or reuse it under the terms. So yeah, it's quite good, that one is. Yep, the Seven Poor Travellers. Now let's go up there to Pictures from Italy. Now in 1844, Dickens took a respite from writing novels for several months, travelled through France to Italy with his family. They visited the most famous sites, but it's his encounters with Italy's colourful street life that capture the imagination. Dickens is particularly drawn to the costumes, cross-dressing and sheer exuberance of the Roman carnival. From the book we learn that Dickens was an early riser and walker and that he enjoyed touring the major attractions on foot. So it looks like he went on holiday to get away from writing and ended up writing a book on it. Has anybody looked at all these titles before? Tried to count how many there are? I think I've found them all and then I'll spot another one. Now I think I've just spotted another one up there. Let's zoom in and have a look. There we go. The Frozen Deep. The Frozen Deep, I hear you scream. That's not Charles Dickens. That's by Wilkie Collins. Has Matthew Dent made a massive mistake? Let's have a look. The Frozen Deep is an 1856 play originally staged as an amateur theatrical written by Wilkie Collins. You're right. Hang on a minute. Under the substantial guidance of Charles Dickens. Ah, I see. As one literary critic said, the changes to the play were so numerous that the drama almost may be ascribed to Dickens. Okay, we'll let him off then. The play was based on the ill-fated 1845 Franklin exhibition to discover the Northwest Passage. Okay, spotted another one. Let's spin it round. Oh, lost it. No, there it is. There we go. The Battle of Life. The Battle of Life, a love story, is an 1846 novel. It's the fourth of his 5 Christmas books. The setting is an English village that stands on the site of a historic battle. Some characters refer to the battle as a metaphor for the struggles of life, hence the title. Okay, that was a quick one. Let's go back again and see if we can find any more. Right, I've spotted one. 1 o'clock up there. I'll spin it round. There we go. Now, you can see that sticking out there. It looks like it says the Earth, but it actually says, if I can highlight it, there we go, something, there's a T above there, something T, the Earth, but it actually says The Cricket on the Hearth, one of Dickens's Christmas novels. There we are, The Cricket on the Hearth. John Peerybingle, a carrier, lives with his young wife Dot, their baby boy and their nanny Tilly Slowboy. Great Dickensian names there. A cricket chirps on the hearth and acts as a guardian angel to the family. One day, a mysterious elderly stranger comes to visit and takes up lodging at Peerybingle's house for a few days. Now, as this is Dickens' Christmas story, you know there's going to be spooky goings on. Haven't read that one. Another one to add to the list, I think. There can't be many more, can there? Oh, I've just spotted another one underneath where I've just been. There we go. Looks like the Udfog. It's actually the Mudfog Papers. The Mudfog Papers relates the proceedings of a fictional society, the Mudfog Society for the Advancement of Everything. It describes the local politics of the fictional town of Mudfog, such as the delusions of grandeur of its mayor, Nicholas Turlrumble, and his disastrous attempts at putting on a public show. A little bit of a parody on some official government societies, I think. Dickens wrote it in 1837 to 1838, and there's a picture of Charles Dickens in 1837. He would have been 25 years old at the time. All right, I found another one, and it says Speeches, Letters and Sayings. Speeches, Letters and Sayings by Charles Dickens. That's it, really. It just does what it says on the tin, that one. Nothing else to be said about that. Okay, I saw one down there somewhere. Where is it? There we are. The Village Coquettes. Sorry about the pronunciation. A comic opera in 2 acts. Village Coquettes. Scene, an English village. Period, the autumn of 1729. Let's move on. Okay, we'll stay in that position of the coin and we'll look for Hard Times, or the full title, Hard Times for These Times. The story is set in the fictitious Victorian industrial Coke Town, a generic northern English mill town in some ways similar to Manchester, though smaller. Coke Town may be partially based on 19th century Preston. And we get to meet the notorious school board superintendent Thomas Gradgrind. Now, I never dreamt the video would last this long, but I keep finding them. I keep finding all these titles. If you've stuck with me this long, oh, I love you. Thank you very much. Not many left now. I think it's just one after this. Okay, let's have a look at the Chimes. On New Year's Eve, Trotty, a poor elderly ticket porter or casual messenger, is filled with gloom at the reports of crime and immortality in the newspapers and wonders whether the working class are simply wicked by nature. This is the second of Dickens's Christmas novellas, and it was published the year after A Christmas Carol, so very similar but set on New Year's Eve and not Christmas. And now we come to the last one. I've deliberately left this one till last because it was Charles Dickens's last novel, that he never completed it, and it is The Mystery of Edwin Drood. The Mystery of Edwin Drood is the final novel by Charles Dickens, originally published in 1870. Though the novel is named after the character Edwin Drood, it focuses more on Drood's uncle John Jasper, a choir master and opium addict who is in love with his pupil Rosa Budd. Upon the death of Dickens on the 9th of June 1870, the novel was left unfinished, only 6 of a planned 12 instalments having been published. He left no detailed plan for the remaining instalments, no solution to the novel's mystery, and many later adaptations and continuations by other writers have attempted to complete the story. Well, hopefully that's everything, all the novels and stories on the coin. If I've missed anything, please let me know, and if I've got anything wrong, please put me right. And actually, my favourite story by Dickens isn't even on the coin, and that's The Signal Man. Have a read of that. That'll send shivers down your spine. Right then, have a closer look at the coin, and as I said, let me know if I've missed any out. And, well, I'll see you in the next video.